Good evening, sir. I hope you are in good health and
Good evening. Yes, sir.
how's
Very
the
good health. Yeah, it's doing well.
okay. So, for viewers out here who are listening to this particular podcast, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome Shri William Lawrence, who is the star expert on matters pertaining to Vedic astrology. I've been taking a lot of guidance and I've been mentored by him in advanced topics. And I was fortunate enough to attend his last few sessions because I came to know of him lately. And the reason I am talking about talking with him today is because I'm looking forward to some expert guidance or mentoring on the theme called yogas in Vedic astrology. The reason why I felt that William sir is the best person to conduct an in-depth, well-researched lecture on yogas is because what I've understood from the past interactions with Sri William sir is that he knows his stuff, okay, and he puts his heart and soul into every lesson and every course that he conducts, and uh, and many a times there were questions which did not pertain to that particular topic, but he took the time, patience, and he also had that the mastery over the subject that brought in answers because he was very sympathetic to the questions that were being asked. So I thought that we could have a small curtain raiser and we could also improvise on how this course that he's going to conduct could actually be reaching out to the people who really want to learn something uh, beyond the basics in Vedic astrology. So, hearty welcome to you, sir, once again.
Hello,
And,
sir.
and
Hello to all the
it
viewers.
is my, I would say, greatest pleasure to honor you, to welcome you in this podcast and talk about the favorite subject that I feel is not only favorite for me but also for people who are dabbling in astrology for quite some time, and they are at a loss to understand, to get the proper direction and to have a foothold on how to interpret certain elements of a chart. Like most probably, I would say the pain point would be deciphering the yogas in a chart. So before we go into the topic of yoga, sir, for the rank beginners out there, could you please explain the concept in a sense, in a way that they could understand what yogas is all about and when it gains importance in a person's chart, the birth chart?
Yeah. Hello. So I think after you learn the first basics, any basics everybody knows, 9 planets, how to read the 12 bhavas and the planetary karakatvas, I think the next step into astrology will be into yogas.
Okay.
So, in fact, the way you learn the yogas, the formation is first you start with the Nabhasa yogas. 33 Nabhasa yogas are there. There are 1,800 variations. So, the Nabhasa yogas has the patterns of how a planet forms in how many signs and how are they formed. So, the first you understand the patterns. Once you go into once you finish the Nabhasa yogas, then you come to the Luna yogas, the solar yogas. Then there are some 40, 50 yogas of Parasari.
Oh,
So it starts with from Gejakesi to Guru Mangala, Mahabhagya, Mritu. All the patterns of yogas will be there. So that's will stand as basics. Then we have another 90 yogas, which is from a very special Jataka Yogavalli, a book by Acharya Devagana, Venkatesha Devagana.
oh,
90 yogas, which is totally different yogas, which is not usually read in or there in most books.
okay. So that means it's something like a new ground to cover for upcoming
See,
astrologers.
usually the other usual yogas, 40, 50 yogas there are more, 300 yogas are there, but the usual yogas mostly will come to 50 yogas are nothing but a Kendra Lord in a corn house, Kona Lord in a Kendra house, a planet in exaltation, benefics, malefics, you have, what is it, Upachaya, and these are the basic yogas will be there. Most Panchamahapurushas. But to understand astrology, it is very, very important to understand the combinations. It is simply we teach, okay, planets in 6, 8, 12 is bad, and Kendras is good, in Konas it's good. But then how does it actually work? That working part is only if you go through the whole gamut of yogas will you understand the intricacy of understanding a horoscope. Like we start with Gajakesri. Okay, so how important is the Kendras? And then another yoga will explain to you how important is the Konas. Then another yoga will explain to you how important is the Upachaya. This is one part. Then you have the dispositors in astrology. How important is the dispositor in astrology? In fact, the Jataka Yoga is nothing but only taking the dispositors and the yogas explained with only the dispositors. Totally a different genre. You will understand the yogas. Okay, this is the first part. Then we still have what is we come to the Jaimini part. Jaimini has a total different from Parashar angle. We understand the horoscope. Then with the Karakas, we Aruda Lagna, with the three other important Lagnas, we understand that will be there. Then what happens if Neecha Bangara Yogas? Viparita Rajaka, and 3 or 6, 8, 12 planets in 6, 8, 12, what happens? Or the Neecha planet in 6, 8. So just for understanding the horoscope, it is not enough you understand what is Kendra, Kona, Upachaya, or Apoklima, anything. How they form malefics, benefic, the Karakatas sitting in these houses, how do they form? In form, totally you'll get about not less than 300 yogas will be there. Very important yogas.
Good. So now coming back to the topic of the other yogas, apart from the ones that are mentioned in Parashari system, I think you talked about the Jaimini yogas also, right, sir?
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, that is a concept that is going to be really interesting for me because I recently attended a very long course in Jaimini astrology, and there were some yogas that were mentioned, but that aspect of yogas in Jaimini were not taken in that course because it was outside the course syllabus. So I think it's going to fill the vacuum that I feel is necessary for me to gain already importance in Jaimini astrology also. Coming back to this question about, I think you briefly mentioned about Gajakesri Yoga. Could you enlighten the viewers about why you think it is, there is some, okay, before I even ask that question, if I understood you rightly, sir, you're talking about learning the yogas as the first step in getting a foothold in understanding the chart. But apart from that, it's like learning the 2 times table in your kindergarten or in the first or second grade. But then as you progress further and further in the classes, then you tend to use that information and you tend to use it in a more complex way. So are there going to be any complications in reading? Once we understand that the Gajakesari is so and so formation, is there any difference in the way it turns its output or it brings an output in the life of the native? Do you feel that this Gajakesari yoga or any yoga for that matter has to be explored thoroughly before we can mention that output as one of our predictions or analysis with respect to a client's chart?
First, the definition of Gajakesari cell must be properly understood. Many people think it is just Jupiter and a Kendra from moon formates the yoga. Okay. It is not enough. Some people say no, both moon and Jupiter must be in dignity. Moon must have Pakshabala, Sthanabala, and preferably if it is also in a Kendra from the Lagna, it will be good. But that is not the complete Gajakesari yoga. Oh. There are some, if you see in the classics, the definition of Gajakesari yoga is incomplete.
Oh.
For Gajakesari yoga to happen, you need one more benefic.
Oh.
What is it? Only then the Gajakesari yoga is complete. Without another benefic, what is a Gajakesari yoga? It is just a Kesari yoga. Okay, there's a difference between Kesari and Gajakesari. What is it? There must be a benefic aspecting moon or Jupiter. Only then the Gajakesari yoga is complete. That is one thing. And then, okay, we know what is in Gajakesari yoga, if moon or Jupiter is weak, it will not complete the yoga. You need moon to be in quite good Pakshabala. And the yoga by itself from the Lagna, where does it fall? It is very, very important.
Okay.
So, but the most important thing, it is not what is it, Jupiter and Kendra from the moon. You need Venus or Mercury to aspect or associate with the yoga. Only then the Gajakesari yoga is formed.
Okay. I think that explains a lot of, clears a lot of misconceptions about the Gajakesari yoga, because people would, when I look at clients' charts and they say they come to me with a preconceived notion, sir, my chart has Gajakesari yoga. but I don't seem to be having any effects that are being mentioned in the classical literature. So, I mean, this is one answer that
Like what? See, there are two things. See, Kemadruma yoga having Gajakesari yoga, or there's an Anaba Sunaba with a Gajakesari yoga. There's a big difference.
Oh,
So it
okay.
is very important when you start with Chandra yogas, there must be a planet in the second and 12th from the moon. And there is no planet in second and 12th from the moon. And then let's say Gajakesari yoga, you have even what is it, Chandramangala yoga, it will function very less. When you have a planet in 2 and 12 from the moon, and then if you have a yoga, like Gajakesari yoga, it will be different.
Oh, okay.
A very interesting Gajakesari yoga will be an Adi yoga with a Gajakesari yoga. So Jupiter in the 7th, Venus in the 6th, and Mercury in the 8th.
Okay.
So it is a Gajakesari yoga with Chandradi yoga. So I'm just giving you a formation, a very interesting combination which can form.
Jupiter in the 7th, right, sir?
Jupiter in the 7th from the moon. So it is a Gajakesari.
Yeah.
But doesn't stop with that. You also have what is it when Venus or Mercury in the 6th or Venus or Mercury in the 8th. So it is a Chandradi and Gajakesari. But for technically from the Shastras, what is it, Jupiter or Venus definitely must aspect one of them to complete the yoga. Only then it is a Gajakesari yoga.
Oh, okay. I mean,
There is something called a simple yoga. There is another yoga which is very similar called Gauri yoga.
Oh.
Gauri yoga simply Jupiter aspects the moon. It is a Gauri yoga.
So all Gajakesari yogas could have Gauri yogas in it.
No, because it can be a trinal aspect. Only the 7th aspect is a Gauri yoga and a Gajakesari yoga.
Okay, that means
Jupiter in a trine 5 and 9 from the moon, it is a Gauri yoga. It is when Jupiter is in the 7th, it is also a Gauri yoga and a Gajakesari yoga.
Which is going to be like a double
yoga. Yes, it is a double yoga.
Powered thing, positive thing.
So it is like even if Jupiter is in the trine from things, it constitutes another yoga called Gauri yoga.
Oh, okay. I mean, these are the nuances that astrologers should master before they proceed to the next level, I would say.
No, in fact, the yogas are just what is you will understand. It is the understanding astrology. It is basic of understanding the nuances of astrology. It's very, very important. What is the meaning of yoga? How does a yoga form? What are the intricacies? What are the techniques? What are the details? What happens? How does a yoga form?
Okay.
Like we understand what is Dana yoga. What is the difference between Dana yoga and Raj yoga? How it moves to a Raj yoga, how it moves. It is very, very, very important. So these are each yoga. It is not what I say. Just these yogas you need to understand. Like if you understand one yoga, you must understand at least another 100 variations you can do. Like what is Gajakesari yoga? Gajakesari yoga is one of the best benefit. Jupiter is in the Kendra from the moon. But so does it mean what is Venus in a Kendra will not form a yoga? So we already have another yoga, a benefic in the 10th is an Amala yoga. Okay. So what happens? What is when you have Mercury in the 4th? So it by itself, what is it? It's just a hint. That's all. Jupiter is the best. So it's Gajakesari yoga. So every other benefic in a Kendra and Kona will form another yoga. So we have to understand it more. Everything is what is that will go up to more than 1,000 yogas, 1,000, 2,000 yogas. But it's a hint. Gajakesari yoga is a hint. You have to understand from Gajakesari, it is not only Jupiter in a Kendra from the moon, every other benefic in a Kendra from the moon will form very special yogas.
Okay, so then basically what you are hinting at is that the first stage is knowing the formula of a yoga, and then the second stage would be to understand the various permutations and combinations.
Variations, how you develop it, how you evolve it, how you stretch it. So what is it? So that's the technique, no? So it's not just mugging up these yogas and only applying these are the yogas I have to apply. No, you have to go beyond what is it? You have to understand. It's not just get it, just stretch it beyond to other aspects also.
Okay. That was a wonderful introduction to the traps and pitfalls that one would face as an upcoming astrologer, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Sir, moving on, I have a few questions to ask, and some of them are fun questions. Can I take the liberty?
Yeah, sure, definitely, sir.
Because I always wanted to ask these questions, but during the course, once the course starts or once the class starts, I don't want to interrupt the flow of the class. So I take this opportunity to ask a few questions.
Sure, sir.
The first thing is, how did you gain this passion for astrology, sir? What triggered you? What triggered you? What made you so passionate in learning astrology, or
No, I think my mother was an astrologer. So the astrology books were all around my house. So and it was all in Tamil, and I am very poor with Tamil. So I used to go and search. I think the quest for truth. The quest for truth. I'm not an astrologer, I'm also very spiritual. I think the quest for truth, and at that age I was, I think, studying my 8th standard.
Oh.
I just wanted to know what is in store for me. What little bit of spiritual stuff and little bit these questions. I think what is like everybody wants to know what is in store for me. When my mother was giving predictions, this will happen, that I see the predictions happen. So I thought, why she refused to teach me. She said, no, what to say, you're too young to learn. So I thought, okay, well, let me learn it myself. I tried to dabble with some Tamil books. It was too much of Tamil for me. Then I started with B.V. Raman's book. We moved to Krishnamurti Pataji and all Shantanam Shastri's book and every other book. We evolved and come to our books.
Very
So
nice.
it is. I think the start is just the quest, or what I say, the quest, or what I say, quest first. And it goes on. The passion goes on. 24 hours. Eat astrology, sleep astrology, breathe astrology. Till today, it goes on. I say, do nothing else but astrology.
And repeat it the next day.
Yeah, repeat the next day. Because I say, if I compare it is also a road to spiritualism. See, if I read Bhagavad Gita, you can understand the Bhagavad Gita. You know how beautifully Bhagavad Gita is written. You will understand it as astrology to it.
Yeah.
Like example, the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is dealing with death. Because in astrology, all of us know. 12th chapter in Bhagavad Gita will teach about surrender. 3rd chapter in Bhagavad Gita is about action. See, it is an astrologer will understand spiritualism better because it is inbuilt. What is that Martha Kama Moksha? What are the other aspects, karma, all the different types of karmas, everything is understood. So I think spiritualism and astrology go together.
I believe a lot of our literature also got destroyed and from the past, and whatever we have left now is, whatever we can get from the multiple resources that are still available in this current period. We have to make sure that we don't lose that knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. But a lot of books are coming.
Sir, based on your experience, because I understand that you also do a lot of consultations, have you ever seen any yoga that was, the chart that appeared to be really good? It had a multitude of yogas that you could think of, and where nothing happened in the person's life. It was mostly like a mediocre life. What would be the reasoning behind this sort of a thing happening, sir? Have you ever seen something like that?
Certain yogas in classics, I'll mention on very important yogas is many planets in its own house or exaltation is supposed to be a Raj Yoga. But in actual practice, this will never happen. I've seen people with 3 nichas or 4 nichas doing extremely very well. But with people with 4 exaltation, my mate has 4 exaltation in the horoscope. Oh. I've seen once a watchman, I picked up his horoscope. He had 2 planets in own house, 2 planets nichas. I was shocked when beginning of astrology and learning, when you see 4 exaltations, should I predict and say he'll become very big later? Oh. What is it? When you look at the horoscopes, then you will understand what is the meaning 4 exaltation and why it didn't work. Most of the person who are having 4 exaltation are extremely very restless, tensed people. They can't take the energy of the planets. So you'll understand what happens, what to say. So then in experience, you will know more than an exaltation. See, exaltation, like too much of energy. In Kali Yuga, more than one exaltation in the horoscope. You cannot take it. You need a Nicha planet or a Combus planet to balance.
Oh, okay.
The exaltation works better when there is another Nicha planet also. So you take Sachin Tendulkar's horoscope, there is 2 exaltations and 2 debilitations.
Okay.
It works. So it's not that, so more than one exaltation does not matter. Even that itself is very difficult to handle. Imagine a sun exaltation. You know how a sun exaltation will be. Nobody can handle sun exaltation, Mars exalted people. Extremely dominating, extremely very assertive, very disciplined, too perfect, too strong. Anybody with sun and exalted, Mars exalted, find it very difficult. And there are, when you have Venus and Sun exalted together, you will expect Venus exalted people to be very, very pretty. Then it will be just the opposite. The person will be just anything less than definition. when a Venus is exalted. So you, what you say, there are many secrets we'll have to understand. It doesn't go when a planet is exalted. There is something else, some other combination, or must also be there. Only then the exaltation is one, which I mentioned is the nature planet. But there are many other combinations. Only if they are there, an exaltation or a planet works. So when you come to exactly this Pancha Mahapurusha yogas, there's nothing but planets and exaltations and in own signs being in a Kendra. One will work. You have more than one, it will not. There are rules that are there which you must know how, what I say, a planet in an exaltation or our own sign will work.
Okay. And
especially a malefic exaltation can be dangerous. A benefic exaltation is not a problem.
Okay. And sir, I also heard about, I mean, the word yoga itself does not say whether it is positive or negative. It can also be a negative yoga combination. Also.
No, yoga means combination.
Is
coming together. Yoga means coming. Yoga means it's not yoga means not something high. Yoga means combination, coming together.
Okay. Okay.
That's all. Coming together. So it can be though we say dur yoga, ava yoga, we say, but yoga by itself, it can be good or bad. So we have add a prefix Raja Yoga, or we say okay, ava yoga, dur yoga, we add. But actually, yoga means just what I say, two combination of a planets or planets in a particular house. It can be good or bad.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, people generally tend to think that yoga means it's always on the positive side, but yoga is a technical word.
Just I think the word yoga is very much related to yoke. What is bringing together? What is two things together, or a conglomeration of two things, a blending of two things is called yoga. So, because somebody asked me, what is the difference between yoga and dosha? You have Kendradipitya dosha, but then we have other things as yoga. Now, what is dosha? What is yoga? You can tell me, sir. What do you think is yoga and dosha?
Yeah, dosha would be a blemish where the planet would not be in good dignity, and then it would be not in good placement, and it would be not able to generate the positivity that it is supposed to bring.
So it can never be benefit. But yoga can be a good and bad. Either way it can be. But dosha is only bad.
Yeah. But now coming to this another important perplexing question that I have. I mean, I've come to see that there are yogas that are seen in celebrity charts, and almost the same yogas would be seen in people who have a normal life. I mean, I understand that there are two elements in delineating a chart, Vedic chart. So you have a concept of static analysis, and then you have what is known as the dynamic analysis based on the dasha system. Now, since you mentioned that you have come across people who had exalted planets more than one or more than two, my conjecture or my guess would be that the dashas were not supporting. Would that be right, sir, in those cases?
In classics, in fact, I said about Jataka Yogavalli, where a yoga is given and it also given a time period when it will fructify. There is a combination of planets. It'll fructify at the 32nd year. So the 90 yogas, at least 40 yogas has a time base. Like Nabasa yoga is not based on dasa. It will function always. Yeah. But this in Jataka Yoga Valli, it also the combination is when it will fructify. This combination is there. It will function on the 40th year, 50th year. Some will function only after the 60th year. Some will function from the 5th year. Oh, okay. So depending on the combination, there are certain where it is not mentioned. You will have to understand it will only function when the constituent of the yoga in a dasa antardasa it comes. It will. Certain basic yoga, solar yoga, lagnadi yoga, yogas based on lagna, chandra, and surya will work from the beginning. When it does not involve lagna, moon, and the sun, you need a dasa for it to function.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting, sir.
Yeah, lagna yoga or a chandra yoga, you don't need for a dasa to function.
It is more quality to the chart you're saying.
It is inbuilt in the chart. The strength of the inbuilt in the chart. He's born in a royal family. You will see most of the yoga explanation having very similar merits. born in a royal family, royal lineage, kingly status, you will say. So it starts with it, the yoga. So those kind of yogas, from birth, it will work. There are certain yogas which will happen later. So it depends. If the yoga is forming between 1 to 4 houses, it will function, or from 7 to 10 houses, it will form later.
Wonderful, sir.
And anyway, the strength of the you might have a Gajakeshari yoga, but let's say for a moon in Libra and the Gajakeshari yoga, let's say Jupiter is Nietzsche. But it's still Gajakeshari yoga. What to say? It will be there, but it will be felt later. But let's say for a person with, let's say, moon in Rishabha.
Okay.
What is it? The Gajakeshari yoga will be totally different. Or let's say moon is in Makara and Jupiter is in Kataka. You will see the Gajakeshari yoga starting from birth.
Okay.
Conjunction of moon and Jupiter, moon in the 4th, yoga will function early. But if it is in the 7th and 10th, it will work late.
Okay. These are what we call as nuances, right?
Nuances. Or you must have Chandra Dasa or Jupiter Dasa coming to function, or planets sitting in the nakshatras.
So one request to all the viewers who are watching this, if you have found this conversation interesting, and if you feel that you need to explore more about the yogas in Vedic astrology, my humble suggestion is not to miss the course that is upcoming. Sir, if I'm not mistaken, when are you having that course, sir, the upcoming?
6th October, and the next session of the course following. It is in 2 sessions. So 4 hours first session on the 6th October, and next will be on the next Sunday on 13th October.
Sir, I can wager on one thing definitely, that it is definitely not going to be just 4 hours. It's definitely going to be more than 4 hours. That is for sure, because I remember, in fact, for those for viewers who have not seen William sir in action, especially when he was talking about the Drakana, the webinar he took for Drakana, the webinar he took for remedial measures, and all those other classes that I've attended. Most of the sessions are where the students actually go into a state of trance, and then they are at a loss to actually even to wake up from the trance. And once the sessions are over, when we feel a very vague, we can say what we call hangover, though it is a negative word, but we can say that it comes with a sense of hangover, once we finish the class and we say, okay sir, thank you so much. And that is the impact that I have seen in your classes, sir. And this is coming from my personal experience, and it is not something that has been projected. And I think I speak for most of the students who have attended the sessions and those who have learned from you for quite some time. I am just a new entry into your set of students. So those viewers who are entering, having these questions in mind about nuances and how to go about deciphering the nuances in the chart, I think this one step that you take, the act of joining the course itself, is going to be a big, enriching and memorable experience with a lot of important takeaways. So when you attend the class, make sure that you have a lot of free time to attend, because the sessions are going to be definitely exhaustive. And another thing is, make sure you take the notes down while he's speaking, because the presentation, the PDF, and that part will be given along with the recordings. But apart from that, what sir talks about, spontaneously when questions are being asked and suddenly something comes in his mind, those are important points that one has to write down. Otherwise, you'll miss the entire thing. And trust me, you will not have the time or the energy to even, to view the recordings after the classes are over. You will think that, okay, we will watch the recordings later. But it is going to be like double work for you. So I suggest you sit down with pen and paper and note down the points while William sir is in his flow. He gets from that subconscious intuition. So viewers, we are coming up with another, I would suggest, a podcast. If people want to hear more about this upcoming course, please mention in the remarks in the comment section in YouTube. And we will go forward with another interview, most likely. Sir, are you willing to come forward for another session, sir? Because I think today's session was not even filling me fully. So I personally would want to have an interaction with you once again.
Yeah, sure, definitely, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you.
Thank you.